Zoom is so fluky. It's good to have a backup system, I've found. Oh, I guess I should put my pretty glasses on. Got my old lady.
You got colorful glasses there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It's my movie star glasses.
Oh, they look good. You got your Snoopy mug there.
That's right. I'm set to go, man.
Yeah, I tell you, you're with it this morning.
I know. So should we give it a couple minutes past since it's just
I don't know. What do you think? I guess we can give it another minute, maybe.
Did we send out a reminder with the Zoom link this morning?
I did. I sent it out probably 45 minutes ago to an hour ago, somewhere in that neighborhood.
You're awesome.
I've been doing that quite a bit here lately, just to make sure that everybody,
Can find the link.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, Nick and Andy, I hope you'll chat with us. Otherwise, we're going to get real lonely.
Well, Nick is with our Baltimore office, and he doesn't have the. He said his mic is broken, so.
Oh, I see.
He's going to be able to chat through the chat link.
Okay. So we didn't get some of those people who signed up today. Andy,
So,
you're like the Lone Star. So I'm $250 an hour when I do one-on-one consulting. So
yeah.
and Andy, you're getting a deal. Practically getting a private training.
I guess we can go ahead and start, and then as people jump on, we'll see them.
Okay. Do you want to introduce the organization? Yeah.
Hi, everyone, and welcome. My name is Bunky Jenkins, and I'm the coordinator for the Women's Business Center at Maryland Capital Enterprises. And we are a nonprofit organization. And we service the Eastern Shore of Maryland, Baltimore City, Baltimore County, and Anne Arundel County in the state of Maryland. And at the Women Business Center, we assist women entrepreneurs who are either starting or expanding their existing businesses. And we offer a lot of free educational programs, trainings, workshops, and consulting, as well as loan assistance. So I'll put our link to the Women's Business Center in the chat so that you'll be able to see it. And I hope you will visit the website, because there's a lot of good information on there as far as what our some of our services are. And it also gives you registration information for some of our upcoming webinars. We do have quite a few coming up in November. We have a Facebook business page, I think on the 8th. We have, let's see, building your business marketing plan during COVID on November 16th. But anyway, there's a whole list of them on the website, so I encourage you to visit that. Other than that, today I'm pleased to introduce Jessica Koch, who's as the owner of Jessica Koch Consulting, and she's worked with us for many of these webinars and trainings and over the years, and we're just grateful for her taking her time and spending it with us and offering her her assistance. So without taking up too much more time, I'll turn it over to you, Jessica.
So I always say I am the Italian mother of 7. I've actually been speaking nationally for 25 years, internationally for about 3. I have been doing webinars for like this for national associations and big government organizations for many years before it was the cool thing to do, before the virtual learning and webinars were as hot of a topic as they are now. I'm actually doing one for the International Tourism Organization globally, actually global, not international, but global, later today. So I am a class teaching fool today, one thing after another. We have clients in about actually we're almost at 12 countries now, I think. And we do sales and marketing consulting, LinkedIn and social media training, and we have a virtual assistant membership program. We work with everything from solopreneurs and people just getting started, and authors and speakers, and just small business owners to we have an international online magazine that we do the marketing and social media support for, as well as a $240 million tequila company. So we're a lot of fun. But we work with all companies of all sizes. Today, we're going to talk about, let me share my screen. Let's see. Let's get us rolling. So enough, all that jazz about me. And today we're going to talk about, kind of a little bit of that work-life balance and some strategies. I'm actually certified in 6 intelligences. I actually did this class near the beginning of the year. I got a call. It's a funny story, so I'll share it really quickly. We need a little humor on our Thursday morning, right? It was the beginning of the year, and I got a phone call. My cell phone rang. And, we get all these calls, right? My cell phone rang, and the guy on the other end says, "Hi, I'm the executive leadership coordinator for leadership training for some of the executive team for Microsoft." And I went, "Really?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm going to send you an invitation to connect on LinkedIn right now." I do a lot of LinkedIn trainings also, like I mentioned. And then he said, "One of our executive leaders heard you speak at a virtual summit and heard you present, and it asked me to reach out to you. And I saw your cell phone number on, the LinkedIn profile, and thought I'd just give you a call." I said, "Oh, okay." So once he checked out, I actually did get to give this a version of this training to 40 of Microsoft's executive team. And I now have been asked to submit 3 more different proposals over the course of the next 2 years to do more leadership training with them. So this is a really good class. The point of that story is to say this is a good one because they really loved it. They loved the different angle it came from. A lot of people talk about emotional intelligence, but there are so many other layers to that. And that's the certification I have through a certain company and organization. So you will see some of the branding from this corporation that I'm certified through. No, this is not a commercial. I am teaching you everything I'm teaching you, you can use even without working through this particular company, right? So there's lots of companies out there that do personality tests, and there's Myers-Briggs and DISC and all of that and yada yada. So, but having the knowledge and the background information for it is still very helpful, even if you don't use any of the specific tools. I don't want you to feel like this is an ongoing commercial. It's really about gathering the strategies and the techniques as we go through this. So one of the very first things I'm going to do, and I hope you guys will play along, is drop in the chat a link for you to crack your code. And this is, again, very similar to the Myers-Briggs and the DISCs and things of the world. And it's going to take you to this link here, and you're going to go ahead and take the few minutes to put these. So you read the words on the cards. This is supposed to take you 90 seconds. It's one of the fastest ones out there, and very accurate and studied by all kinds of colleges and things. But again, not trying to sell you this, but just knowing that there's some value in this. This is all free that I'm sharing with you. You're going to get a 30-page report, 30-ish, maybe a few pages less than that, report custom to how you respond based on your personality and what kind of moves you to action. So you read through the values, and the truth of the matter is we have all of these in us, right? It's a matter of, if I really had to choose which one's first, second, third, and fourth. And so you just kind of slide them into the locations, and then that is how you complete this. It's wicked simple. One of the other things that I love about it is, that, it's in a million languages. But most importantly too, which I feel like is so cool, is it also comes in icons for children. So it has the ability for them to begin this process. Now, it's not quite as accurate for children, right, as, the pictures, as for the words, but sometimes that can be very helpful and really help with teachers and parenting and how people receive information. So the whole concept of the 6 intelligences and what does that have to do with your work-life balance is, first of all, what are the 6 intelligences, right? So we have personality intelligence, emotional intelligence, business intelligence, sales intelligence, spiritual intelligence, and artificial intelligence. And technology and automation and all these things are becoming more and more a part of our world, right? So whether we're looking at MailChimp and the funnels we're using and all of these different things, to really have balance all the way around and have life freedom, we need to be tapping into some of those automations, because then that then gives us time for our relationships, right? Which is, more in our personality, emotional, and spiritual intelligence space. And also gives the ability for our business and our sales success to scale, so that we can then again circle back and have time and resources for our family and the other things we're trying to do in life, the time that we're giving. We have more to give back to the community. There's just so much more of us to go around, and we truly can have that balance if we start to master these different personalities. So did anybody go in and play with me and crack their code? Because you should have gotten a formula, and I'll tell you what mine is. So mine is NABK. That is my order. And so you'll know that by, so the yellow one is nurture, the red one is action. So it's the first letter of every one of these little cards. So I am an NA, and then a B, and then a K. And the interesting thing about me is, or about anyone in this, they found in these studies, is this third position here, this third card, this blueprint print. And for me, that's like checklists and having things in order and having systems and processes. This is what shows up big time when I am in a situation of stress or there's a lot going on. Okay, too much is happening. I need a checklist, like I need to write it all down. And so, interesting thing is some people resort other ways. So knowledge, if you get too overwhelmed by something, some people just, I need to research it, so that they'll research the tar out of it. That's those people have the K in their third spot. They'll read every white paper, read every review written by people. They're trying to figure out the solution to the problem. So they're putting their head down, they do their research, and it's kind of how they show up. So this third position pops right into first place when we're in those situations. So obviously you have, like I said, a little of all of these different values, these different pieces in you. But first and foremost for me, mostly what runs my world is community and collaborations and working together as a team. And, so I'm the Italian mother of 7, so I'm the ultimate nurturer, right? So I grew my own team. Okay. And I love doing things where there's multiple wins. So one of the things I teach from a sales perspective is cause marketing, because I want there to be a triple win. I want the business to win. I want the community to win. Like I want everyone to win, so I'm all about that community pull together. But I'm also very action, like, do not give me the long, boring science of it all, because I might just go to sleep, right? And so I want the information really short and efficient. I really do like the VIP treatment. I will pay a little more if I'm going to get that, VIP experience, because I see value in that. I want flexibility and life freedom. I own my own company. That's part of why, right? Because that's really important in my value systems. And then I do have this step-by-step process for everything that I'm building out in my company right now. I do have a sprinkle of this. Also, I am a lifetime learner. I am constantly ingesting new webinars, new YouTube videos, new workshops and 5-day challenges and whatever I can squeeze into my brain. Because I love to learn. And that is this person here. So, and we're going to go through these a little bit more, but I wanted you to have that basis as we got started in this. And I do have a LinkedIn article that I pulled together on a lot of these pieces. So it's going to help as we go through our journey today. We're going to start with personality intelligence. And it's a good thing we have some time. So did anyone share in the chat what they found out they were? You did, Donna. You're so good to me. Don't leave me alone. You are a big time. You need that blueprint list and the credentials and all of that, nurture action. I love that. Really great. So we would be a great collaborative team, because you fill me in where I am not as strong, and a little bit vice versa, right? So we're going to go with personality first. And it's a good thing that we're covering so many that we have a good amount of time. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know. All right, can everybody see my screen okay? Yes, we think so. Please feel free to talk to me. You don't have to be on mute. We're such a small, intimate group that it is not a big deal. Now let's see if it'll move forward now. Oh, maybe it moved forward too fast. You know, we're running Zoom and SlideShare here. So, all right. So we talked about these personalities a little bit. You know, blueprints are the engineers of the box. Action, they want nothing to do with the box. Nurture wants to recycle the box. And knowledge, they probably invented the box, right? So there we go with that. Let's go to the next slide. So, you know, language and all of these intelligences, and really finding some of that work-life balance is what communication is key for every single aspect of your life. From everything from your self-talk and how you feel about yourself, to maybe your relationship to whatever you have on a spiritual level, if any, as well as your family, your community, your work. Everything is affected by communication. And so that is wicked key. And, you know, we start with the communication in our own mind, and everybody talks about mindset a lot. But really, these are skills. These are all learnable, and having tools at your ability to use as resources, whether it's DISC or Myers-Briggs or even just other books on emotional intelligence, whatever resources you can get your hands on, webinars and trainings. These things will help you up your game in all of these categories, which will again give you that success and balance overall in life. And I think it's something, especially with what the world has faced, truthfully, we need more than ever. We talked about what the different intelligences are, and we're going to spend a little bit of time in each one of these today. And right now we are whopping through personality intelligence. And the whole idea to have this work-life balance is, you know, everyone's heard work smarter, not harder. So really leveraging things get to be successful in a more concise manner. That's why I really love that this includes a business intelligence aspect, and a sales is a completely separate one. There's some really brilliant brains out there and quotes on, without good marketing and sales, no business exists, right? And I'm paraphrasing, and there's multiple people who said several versions of that. And so I love that they've separated this out in this training series. So personality science, here we go. So here we have our different different people that we've been talking about. And, you know, this whole science piece it wasn't just thought of yesterday or even 10 years ago or 20 years ago. It's been around the block for a hot minute, right? This was a conversation and a thought for quite a while with some thinkers who are just way greater thinkers than me. I have an adult daughter who is getting her degree, and she wants to do higher education. She actually wants to be the next Department of Education leader for the country, right? That's like one of her main goals. So she's after her PhD, and she is gung-ho about changing the world, right? And one of her other degree, majors is psychology or philosophy. And she says she needs to be a philosopher so that on her tombstone it'll say, and here lies. So this is the logic and the philosophy. I just had to share that because I thought that was funny too. All right. So blueprints, we are, box designers, right? And they love and feel really safe when you're high blueprint about things that have stability, structure, systems and processes. They're the big time planners. So if you're going somewhere, even if it's on vacation, they're going to have the itinerary, the agenda. They're going to book everything for you. They're going to know what the shuttle is taking you and where, what all the hours are. Donna's shaking her head. You have organized a vacation or two. I bet you anything down to the T. Where are we going to eat? What are the hours of this event? What's our backup plan if that doesn't work and it's not available? Really like things to be predictable. They're really responsible. They are rule followers. They want to know what the rules are, and they want to really know clearly what the rules are so that they can follow all the rules. Credentials, that is a big deal for a lot of blueprints. They really value higher education, continuing education, all those fancy letters behind someone's name, and titles. This is important. And tradition, the different family traditions and cultural traditions. So if they're Italian or Greek or Hispanic or whatever their culture is, that historic, deep-rooted tradition has a great meaning for this person when blueprint is in their first space. And they're going to greet you with your traditional firm handshake, look in the eyes, sit up straight, finish all your food at the table. This is our blueprint. And all of these personalities, by the way, are so valuable and so needed. And when you put them together, they can seem like oil and vinegar, but they can also be the best partnership on the planet if the level of emotional intelligence to put another person, to value another person and put their needs and their thoughts and try to put yourself in their shoes is part of both people's skill set, because this is a skill that needs to be learned, to kind of move from our 2-year-old, it's all about me circle into the what's going on with the person in front of me and the community beyond me and the world around me, right? And so that is the levels of emotional intelligence that begin to expand. This this action person, I very much relate to. They want to blow up the box. We're not about the box, and we like to speak on stage and be featured and share our knowledge with people. We really love freedom and flexibility. I love to be able to work my own hours. Don't give me a territory. I want the globe to be my market. I don't mind a little bit of attention. I do have a little bit of spontaneous to me. I am a big time action taker. So I do make a plan, but then I'm instantly getting my team or someone to implement it for me. I love having a team. I love opportunities, which can be the next shiny syndrome issue. Like I have to keep that in check, right? Because I have to make sure I complete what I'm working on first for my success opportunity versus jumping to every single one. Last year, true story, from August to December of last year, I spoke on 50 different virtual summits because I had a hard time saying no to the opportunity because I love new opportunities. Boy, did I work my katukas off, and I promised myself to be more realistic than that. I love winning. I'm very competitive. I think I'm a lot of fun. I at least have fun anyway. And I love excitement, fireworks and live music. And I love, roller coasters are my thing. So that's your action crowd, right? And we're gonna give you a high five or a high 10, or we're gonna really give you some energetic, exciting kind of a greeting. Now the nurture is actually my first space. We're gonna recycle that box, or we're gonna fill it up with things to donate to the local charity. We're gonna give you a hug. We really care about relationships, and these people are really valuable in your life because they are the relationship genies. Like, they're the people in your family that the reason you still have a family reunion, right? Or the reason you still get together for the holidays, because this person is the glue that holds the family together. That person that you think about that does that, man, that person, they're also very authentic, and they really even get offended when things aren't authentic. That's a big turn off for us. It's a big, I'm not involved in this because this is got fake things with it. One of the example of that is, and it's interesting because knowing this and going through this certification through this organization has really helped me have personal insight, as well as learn more about my family members and my clients and my community, and you just pay attention a little better. And something I noticed about myself that I probably wouldn't have is, I don't know if you've ever, I mean, come on, you have to have found a Facebook ad that says, check out this free webinar to learn how to XYZ, right? And you click it, and there happens to be a webinar in 15 minutes from when you clicked it. Like, it's going to be right now, and it's live, and they pretend it's live, and they pretend stuff in the chat, and it's all recorded, and it's all software and technology to have an evergreen webinar that looks live. Don't pretend to be live to me. I think that's yeeky. Like, I'm all about an evergreen webinar. That's cool. Set that up, but let me know it's a recording on demand whenever it's convenient for you. Here's the link and you can go watch it. Just tell me the truth. Be authentic. Like, that's more important to me than you being able to put on a webinar every 15 minutes live, which isn't realistic or reasonable, 2 a.m. and 15 minutes we're having a live webinar, and there's 1,000 people on it. And look, Johnny from New York is commenting. That's all funny baloney. And people who are high nurturers, we are not about the funny baloney. We want the real deal. Okay, so we have high ethics. We really like everyone to get along and be happy. We have a high level of morality, and we really want to contribute. We want to be involved. So, these kinds of things are really, really valuable to us. I always want to find out what the cause is. Whenever I work with a business or even research a business as a prospect, if it's a large corporation I'm trying to get in, I always look at their mission, their vision, and the cause they care about. Because a lot of these larger corporations will kind of embrace or scoop up, even make their own nonprofits or foundations in some cases, or really just adopt one, right? Like, you go to certain stores, you see St. Jude's, and you see, because that corporation has kind of adopted that charity as a personal goal to support them along. And finding out what matters to other people, whether it's in your personal life or in your business, is going to give you more work-life balance, because helping those people achieve what is in their plan will always, by universal law, in my opinion, reciprocate in a guaranteed side effect of some sort of wonderfulness happening to you, and all of the great things that you are trying to achieve for yourself coming your way. So I'm just a big believer in that. I don't believe, excuse me, one second. I don't believe in doing good for the reason of receiving good, but I do genuinely believe and get great joy in doing wonderful things for others with no expectation of anything back, but knowing that something's going to surprise me, because it's just how it works, just how it happens. At least it's been my experience. And guess what a nurturer is going to give you when they greet you? You got it. A big fat hug. We are huggers. This whole thing that's gone on with the world has made the nurturing world have the freak out a little, because we need our human contact. We need squeezy hugs. We need held. We need human contact. It's like a big, super big deal. So That's been a rough thing. So if you know people like this who are high ends in your life, as soon as you are, healthy enough, feel safe enough, give these people a hug, because they're feeling hug deprived. They need their hug meter filled back up. they need that charge. Okay, the knowledge people. These are some of my favorite people. These people had the original idea and concept of the box, gave all of those great ideas to the blueprint so that they could engineer the box. These are the big brains of it all. Learning, intelligence, technology, science, accuracy, because, math is an exact science. Like and they also do see some of that, that big picture, putting together all of the great knowledge. They go back through the scientists, through the Teslas of the world, they're looking at all of the different, their research, and, and what was Einstein doing, and leveraging off of that knowledge and that past studying. And they really want, okay, so the worst thing you could do to a person who is a high knowledge is challenge that they're right about something, because these people, they really need to be right. So you don't want to go about it that way. You want to be like, I see where you're coming from, and maybe also there's this point of view. That is the only way you're getting anywhere with these people, because if you just try to give them and fight them that their idea is wrong and yours is right, you're going to lose every time, and there's just going to be an explosion. And it's not going to be the fun chemistry kind. So they're very logical, right? My husband is he is very much this category. I adore him, but he's always following all of the articles on the newest and latest technologies. He has a degree in astronomy, so he's watching the stars and the planet and what's happening out there in the world, and who's getting shot up in rockets, and all the sci-fi shows you could ever. I win some sort of prize in heaven for seeing more Star Trek than any girl should probably have ever watched. And probably slept through. Very good, very good snuggle on the couch and take a nap show for me. But this guy is absolutely how they would rather greet. If they could greet you without touching you, this is their preference. So you stay there, I'll stay here. Let me just give you the signal. All right, live long and prosper, right? I have a mother-in-law and I adore her, but she has this fabulous talent of being able to, well, it's much better now. She's a great hugger now, but there was this ability to hug me with almost out touching me, because there's personal space they have a hard time with in some cases. Now, these are all guidelines, not stereotypes or absolutes, or, so there's going to be the knowledge person who does, for whatever reason, in their formula recipe, they're going to like more of the touchy-feely. Their greeting really is, it would be great to just pass you a business card. No need for any excess excitement or energy or hugging or extra touching if not necessary. Got to give these people a little bit of space and let them, they're like deers, you don't want to rush at them. They might run away. You kind of step back and let them come in their own good time. Let them come to you. So we talked about, there's some other absolutely fantastic organizations out there. And I do, like I said, just having the knowledge of how some of these things work, no matter what tool or technology you choose to use, or none at all, just absorbing the knowledge is perfectly fine. So I want to make sure that I'm coming across that way. And now there's also different ways. So if you think about this from whether you're dealing with your family or your clients, and how they are moved to action to make an investment, right? So if a blueprint is making a purchase from your business, or a nurturer is making a purchase for your business, you're going to go at it from different ways. So from the nurturer, we might say, hey, when you purchase today, 20% of the sale is going to the cause of your choice, right? But a blueprint's going to be, well, that's all fine and good, but I need to know, is there a step-by-step process? Are you going to walk me through it? Is there a blueprint? Is there a guide? Is there a workbook that goes with this? What am I getting that it's going to take me through it each step of the way in a systematic process that my brain can absorb, right? And then the knowledge person is going to want to know, well, what's the stats, man? What's the science behind this working? Where's your recommendations? Where, who has this worked for, right? And the action is going to want to know how quick is their return on investment going to come around, because they want things moving yesterday, and how fast can we get started? So once they've decided this is good for them, they're all going to be purchasing differently, and you need to be thinking about that. And purchases and moving someone to action from a concept. So whether it's you really want to go, maybe you really want to go to Paris, right? And this is you have to use your Jedi powers for good, okay? Because I'm giving you the secret sauce of moving people to action. But if you brought to your knowledge blueprint husband, who maybe wasn't a big action nurturer, and you want to go to Paris to help some sort of cause, but also get to see the Eiffel Tower and go on a cruise there, right? But you pitched to him, well, we really could try to do this global see the world tour and hit all these countries and this, that, and the other thing. Or we could just take this more consolidated trip to Paris, logically, with a lot less stress and steps and a lot less money. We might be going to Paris versus the around the world trip, So the way you position your communication is going to be effective in both business and personal life, which I find funny. So this kind of the science of moving them to action or buying, and it can be buying into a concept, buying into the idea of a vacation, buying into all different things. But you do want to ultimately growing and scaling your business with more ease and effectively and efficiently is again going to have an effect on a ripple effect on all the other parts of your life, right? Because if you have those resources, you can give more to the community, you're going to feel good about yourself, you can do more with your family, you have more time to do with your family, and your business is still scaling and growing. And in order for that to happen, we absolutely have to have sales coming in the door. And so we have now gone through personality. So give me 1 second and we are going to move to the next one. Does anyone have any questions? Oh, my slides are too zoomed in. Well, let me see if I can try to fix that for the next go round. Let's see what we can do with that. All right, so we're going to go to emotional intelligence. And let's do share screen. Let's give this a try again. Slideshow. I wonder if maybe I need to change the view before I put the slideshow on. Zoom out. Let's see if it'll let me go to. I don't know what this will look like, but let's give this a try. All right, slideshow from the beginning. Oh, is that worse or better? Or the same? Kind of feels like the same to me, doesn't it? I don't know. Okay, so anybody else have a comment on the slides? Or are we okay? Do you know? All right, we're going to move forward. So emotional intelligence. This is a big one. And it was like a rave for a while. And there was a lot of books about it, a lot of talk about it. And then they kind of just stopped there without moving forward through all the other emotional and all the other intelligences, right? And so really, there's a lot of belief that having a higher level and taking the time to improve the skill set of your emotional intelligence is really key to some of your success and for you being a more well-rounded and healthier person. So whether it is in your relationships, and we talked about one of the keys of emotional intelligence is helping to make sure that you are in touch with who you are and then moving beyond there, right? Typically a stable relationship, either with spiritually on some level or meditation or your physical health, and then moving out from you to the people who are in front of you and then in your community and beyond in the world. The further we're able to look out from ourselves, the better and more valuable they are, and higher up our emotional intelligence scores, if you would, go. That ability to read a room. There's a high level of emotional intelligence when a person is in a board meeting or in a group meeting with their peers, and they can sense that someone else is really upset, and then they actually pause for that and recognize it and give value and appreciate people and justify, give validity to their feelings, even if you don't agree with them, right? And having that ability to have that kind of valuable communication puts you at a higher bracket of emotional intelligence and also moves you into a leader position, right? So building great relationships is super important, and starting to understand what value systems motivate other people really are going to help you cut through some of that, right? Because especially if you're dealing with someone who doesn't have a high level of emotional intelligence and hasn't even really taken the pause to see what values are in line for them. They don't even know sometimes what's bothering them, right? So some of these people who are still pulling through, in order to communicate with them and work through a problem with them, work with them in a business setting, or even have relationships with them and your family, you have to be able to have resources and even identify for based on their behavior and the specific words they even use will give you a hint on where they are and what may be the best way to present an idea or a conversation and communicate with them, to connect with them. So so moving our focus, like I mentioned here, from ourselves to others really is the big piece of and the big secret behind emotional intelligence. And that's really what this ultimately boils down to. And like I said, it's really fascinating. For a while, it was really trending. Emotional intelligence was talked about a lot. There was a lot of books done on it. And so the pieces of, thinking outside of ourselves. So some of our pieces are, our self-regulation. So having that self-discipline. So when someone does upset you, being able to respond calmly, when you get hit from behind and, because someone's irresponsibly playing on their phone or playing with their radio, being able to exchange insurances, be grateful that no one's severely hurt, and handling the situation without an explosion is key, and to indicating where you are in a level of emotional intelligence and not getting, angry when there's things you can't control. There's going to be traffic sometimes. There's going to be people who do not pay attention sometimes. I mean, these are the things we have to deal with in life, and having control over and power over how we personally respond is a sign of a higher level of emotional intelligence. And it'll also give you more peace and less stress, and you'll just be a happy person when you choose to respond differently to these situations that are less than pleasant. But this too shall pass, right? None of these things are permanent situations. And motivation. So motivating yourself to, choose the right foods and go and exercise and get the sleep we need makes the whole work-life balance thing so important. And figuring out, okay, well, if this is my current situation, I'm working from home. I recently purchased the desk that can stand up so that I'm not always sitting, right? So I have that so thinking about, well, what are our circumstances? And someone says, well, if you just throw your hands up and say, well, I give up, I can't do this because this is happening. Well, what creative out of the box solutions could you have to make whatever you're trying to achieve fit in whatever your current situation is, and having that motivation to think that way. And of course, having empathy for others, being really self-aware, and then also aware of your surroundings, right? And tapping into what's happening with other people around you is super important and key. And just having really good social skills. And this is one I work on myself all the time, because I am a professional when it comes to interrupting. So I am a professional interrupter. And so that is one of the things I am super trying to get better at, because we really do need, and we bring so much more value to a relationship and to a conversation, even when we are good listeners, right? And are really not just listening to think about what we're going to say next. And I'm guilty of that too. So, really listening to listen and then contribute to the conversation. So these are some of the key pieces for emotional intelligence. These gentlemen have had a lot to say and do about the world of emotional intelligence and written some books together. I have a great article on them as well. So the ability to identify and understand and manage your own emotions, and then the ability to identify and understand and influence other people's emotions. So I talked about that science of the biology, or buying into something or moving someone to action. And that's really, really important. I have all these little pieces I have to move around to see the slides too. So really pulling through, like I said, this was a big rave for a while, Harvard Business Review, this groundbreaking ideas and, shifting things into business as well as into personal from the emotional intelligence standpoint. And Forbes had something to say about it, and how it impacts leadership in the business world and training, and improving your emotional intelligence by just actually dedicating some time for self-thought. You can work through a journal, you can join a mastermind to do it, and give each other feedback and look at the different categories of your life and where you're doing and what kinds of goals you have for those and how you would like to improve them, what you're doing to improve them, and having that mastermind in order to get that feedback, that brainstorming, that accountability is really, really important. And so they say, salespeople and leaders and business people, they are just so much more productive. And with that, when you achieve something, you feel so good about yourself. So, right, your self-esteem goes up, and then it just impacts so many different parts of your life: health, relationships, and success overall. We just talked about that. So the value of really working hard on your emotional intelligence is super, super important. So hear the other person and speak their language. So that's, again, taking note to, now that you have that little free gift, that little free evaluation of yourself, right, where you put the cards in order and knowing those value words, you can now listen for those, and you'll have that report. Once you read through it, it'll really help you identify the person that's in front of you, to say, oh, okay, I need to think about how I can present this in a way that includes a step-by-step system or process, or I need to think about, how you're communicating to that person by what you're hearing from them from the beginning, right? And thinking about those different exact words that you can infuse in that conversation and in that presentation, right? And this will allow you to have just so much more success. I love the iceberg image, because it's so true with so many things, right? The 80-20 rule and all of those things. So, and a good old, lots of quotes on people with emotional, raising emotional intelligence for higher relationships. An interesting thing happened to me when I first was going through this training myself, was that I have a daughter, so I have 7 kids, right? And one of my daughters, from the time she was very little, would put her hands on her hips, and literally out of her mouth would be the words, you can't parent all your kids the same. I mean, this is coming out of a small child, right? And we just always butt heads. And it was partly because I felt like we were so alike. But the truth of the matter is, I had my adult children and a lot of my family go through this process of cracking their code. And my husband and I, we've been together over 20 years and adore each other. And of course, we both try to guess before we actually did it, or swapped information to see if we could figure it out on our own, based on having the information. And you know what? Surprisingly, we weren't right. And it was funny. But then once we read each other's reports, we were like, oh yeah, that's spot on. I totally see that. But with my one daughter, she is actually a blueprint first and a nurture last. And I am a nurture first, right? And I'm not a blueprint unless I'm stressed out. So for us, it just felt like I had that moment, that avatar moment, where I could actually see her for it felt like the very first time. Like I was in tears, just realizing I'd missed so much time with her. And now our communication and our relationship is 500% better and stronger than ever was. And it wasn't bad, but I'm now able to understand her and relate to her in a way that I really never was before. And so for me, that made this entire program worth it in itself. I'm trying to get to the next slide and it is not moving. So I am going to stop sharing my screen. And I am going to see what is the issue. From current slide and the next one. Okay, so now that I need to share my screen again. So from current slide. There we go. All right, so really you can see how much value that that this all brings. So you want marriages to stay strong. We want parenting our children to be a bit easier. And it is funny that opposites can attract, and they can attract as far as business partners too, right? So not just, not just from this love standpoint, right? So this action freedom wants to do bungee cord jumping and go do race car driving and all the other things, loves Mr. Reliable over here, right? Because he's stable and, things are good. And, the nurture person, that's me, by the way, loves this knowledge guy over because he's so smart and he solves problems and he listens to me because he's not that much of a talker and I do a lot of talking. So I need a good listener, and this one, he loves that I also bring some adventure and excitement into his life. And otherwise it might be a little boring. I'm just going to say, it's never boring with me though. Right. So it's just fascinating but how that same positive can also be a problem, right? Because this one's now, wait, you don't have a job, you don't plan, you're always late, you're driving me crazy, right? And this one's, wait, you don't want to take any risks, you always order the same thing at the restaurant that we go to every time, you never change it, like, it's all the things. So this one, maybe, this guy's, remember, he's the Vulcan, so maybe not as affectionate or lovey or romantic. And this one over here, oh, you need me so much, you're always touching me. you're too emotional, so you can get the best and worst of it. And part of that, improving that, is raising your level of emotional intelligence, right? So my husband and I know people won't believe me if I say this, but I mean, we've been together over 20 years. In the first 2 or 3 years, we had a couple of those little heated spats where we're like figuring things out, but they were so rare. And now I can't even tell you, I mean, really, truly, the years that have got to have gone by where we've had a disagreement of any consequence is unbelievable to me. If we have a challenge in our life with the kids or our family or the businesses, we have this really great conversation and we brainstorm together and we just have this great synergy. And I think that's a lot of it, is both of us have worked so hard on our emotional intelligence and having that self-discipline and just thinking about things differently, and not sweating the small stuff and not letting it get to us. And truly wonderful. And like I mentioned, I do love the icons to be able to have an impact on the kids and their education. And good old John Maxwell and his lovely quote. And we're going to move through to some of these other, how are we doing? We have a couple of other intelligences to get through. All right, so let me stop sharing this and see if there's any questions. It looks like we lost a couple of our people. I hope I didn't bore them. Maybe it was they just had another meeting coming at noon. That very well could be, because a 2-hour session is a long session, I know, but there's a lot of intelligences. There's 6 of them.
And I now understand why I always order the same thing at the restaurant.
Because it's stable, it's reliable, it's going to be good. You already know you like it.
Well,
My husband's knowledge, he only orders new things if he has tasted, I've ordered something new and he tasted it, and then he'll go back the next time and he'll try something new. That's the only way he tries something new. Cracks me up. But it's good. This is really good information to have, and it really does help life overall. I'm a big believer.
Yeah, I was a psych major too, so I totally get your daughter's situation.
I know, she cracks me up. And she's a blueprint first, so you do totally get my daughter. All right, so we're going to move into business intelligence and sales intelligence. So here, away we go, because we have a couple of more to hit. So let's see, slideshow. Let me share my screen first. I have to do all these fancy maneuvers to make all the technology work. What are we doing here? From the beginning. There we go. All right, so business intelligence. So really, business intelligence takes on a new dimension. So you do need to think about the different values of the people who are in your business, who are your vendors you purchase from, who are your clients, who are your prospects, your community, your collaborators, your joint venture partners. There's really a lot to think about. It's a lot of relationships when you're in business, but your business intelligence also needs to be that actual business plan and that business blueprint, right? So you need to look at the different parts of your company, right? So from recruiting staff to recruiting customers, to nurturing the staff experience, to nurturing your customer experience, to making sure that there is a high level of the most important part of any business plan, even if you skip all the rest of the business plan, is your sales and marketing strategy and plan. You need to have a really solid, aggressive one where you're tracking, you're testing, and you're looking at the actual results, because without a strong success in this department, all the rest is gone. Business is no longer in existence, right? If somebody stops buying food from a restaurant, it doesn't matter how great their waitresses are, because there's no customers and there's no sales, and then there's no business, and then that's closing down. So you really, this is very data. So this is what I'm talking about, analyzing your data, tracking what is happening, knowing your numbers. I am in a mastermind with women right now where we're just starting a workbook to really go through and know all the numbers and the data that you need to know about your business and getting that really organized so that you can be on point with it. And so you cannot leave all of this to be in the hands of your CPA and your accountant, because they are making sure things balance and things follow laws. They are not necessarily looking at what exactly are you making? What's really working in marketing here? How can you make more in this? How can you spend less in this category? All of those things. Those things aren't necessarily their job. And really, as the owner of a company, you should have your finger on this to some degree, even if you have a CFO and a bookkeeper and an accountant and all of those other things. You need to have a clue what's happening here and understand how and why it works. So data is hugely important, and it has its own values and systems that you need to pay attention to, right? So it is in first position. Like I said, the sales and marketing piece of your business has got to be in first position. Like we talked about those value cards. So so that your business can succeed for all the rest, so that you can have research and development, and you can have other categories and spaces in your business. And the data needs to drive your decisions. So if you tried something, and I'm a 3 strikes and you're out kind of person. So some things do take more time. Like say if you did a postcard mailing from a marketing standpoint, maybe you sent it out and you didn't get any success. Well, maybe you need to analyze not just, okay, postcards don't work. Maybe we need to analyze, where do we send them? Who do we send them to? What other parameters are there that we could test and test 2 or 3 things before you say, okay, we're going to decide that this is not the best use of our resources for our company. Let's try something else. And I'm really a huge fan of organic and joint venture and affiliate and those kinds of ways to drive traffic to you versus Facebook ads. But there is some genuine success in ads on Facebook and other social media platforms and things like that. So you do need to make a good business decision and test things, and test them in small increments, right? And track the results, and then try something new and play with it some, and get expert advice. Like, I would never touch the Facebook ad space without a high-level successful consultant in that area. And I actually do work and collaborate with someone there, because it's not my skill set, it's not my gift, and it can be a money pit. So making data-driven decisions, and data includes working with experts when it's appropriate, right? If you are not the expert in this, don't try to be in everything. Get the research and the data from the experts who've tried everything and already sunk all their money or other customers' money into things learning. Don't try to learn all these things on your own. And when you do decide you're going to work with someone, at least check with 3 references, find out what other people's experiences have been with them, read some of their reviews, make a good decision based on data for what experts you work with as well, right? Okay, so business intelligence is going to tap into all of so if we think about all those value cards and how we're all a little bit of each of them, as a CEO or business owner of a company, these things are all going to tap into our success as the leader of our company. So give that some thought too, and think about which of these values. Maybe I'm not the strongest, knowledge is my bottom, but maybe that means I need to have someone on my team who can help me with research and learning what's new, watching the newest technology, learning and figuring out how the software works. I need someone in my world, in my business, to fill this niche, because it isn't my strongest. So knowing yourself and having this report that you're going to get via email when you did crack your code, it's going to also help you be, a better person, a better wife, a better mother, a better husband, a better leader, and a better business owner. Because then you can think about, okay, where am I the strongest? And then where do I need to add team members or value, or even workshops or education, if that's where you're starting from? Maybe you're not hiring someone. Maybe you're just hiring an independent contractor or a consultant, or you're taking a class or an online course, or you're looking at the courses that this organization provides that will fill that piece that help you be a little bit better in your business in it, if that's your weakest link, right? So that is where all of this comes together to have value in the business space. So when you're targeting your target market, knowing what code they are in, and I'm going to give you a hot clue. As you're building your marketing material and your language, you want to be speaking in the language of your ideal person. You also want to know, I did a talk called the 60 Things. And the whole point of that song, that talk was that people and businesses and salespeople, especially, who take the time to learn 60 or more things about their ideal customer are, like, I think it's a ridiculous percentage, like 70 or 80% more likely to make a sale, right? Because you're beginning to know your person. And if you know them, then they're beginning to most likely know, like, and trust you, which then leads to, do you know their favorite color? Do you know where they like to vacation? Are they big Disney fans? Do they go there every year with their family? What's their shopping habits? Where do they like to shop? Where do they like to socialize? Are they on the golf course? Are they in the football stands? Or, and are they commuting a far way? Do they like to listen to audiobooks when they drive? Find out what's going on with your people, so that you can serve them better. Also, find out where they hang out. This is not that hard. You go to LinkedIn and look at what groups they're in. You can find out if they like to run, bungee cord jump, if they're RV campers. There's groups for everything. If they like knitting, there are knitting clubs. Even in LinkedIn, you can see the groups that they're in. What national associations are they a part of? What matters to their industry? What associations and trade organizations does their industry and company respect because they paid membership to, or they're following, or they joined, right? Where are they networking? What kinds of things are they trying to achieve? Where they buy, what they buy, and most importantly, why they buy. So really understanding what is ultimately going to move them to actions. What pieces of the puzzle do you need to make sure you're including in your presentation and covering, so that it is very easy, based on their value system and how they operate, for them to make that buying decision for their business. And that is what you should be looking at for your people too, right? So if you know their code, that's awesome, right? That's the easiest way. But you have to, if you don't know it, it's okay. You can pay attention and learn it. You can watch the words that they put in their about section on LinkedIn. You can watch the words, the keywords, the value words that pop out in the emails they send you. You can watch the value words and the keywords from their website, in their mission, in their vision, in the about us, in their bios. All those places have clues. And really, ultimately, what we're trying to do, whether we're dealing with the business, and I find this fascinating because this formula is in both the business and the sales, because sales, again, is king in business, right? So the number of opportunities you work, so this is basically how fast can we get to a sale, the velocity, based on also the average dollar your deal is, and your win rate, so how fast can you convert it, and how long the sale takes. So if you can affect any one of these numbers, if you can make the number of opportunities you have to work smaller, and the deal value of great value, so larger, and your win rate larger, and the length it takes you to be on the sale shorter, then you've got a recipe for some hot success right there. That is where we're going with this. That is what you want, right? And so you want to make that work, and you want to think about what that process is. So you also need to think about where your leads are coming from, and the different sales cycle it is for each of these. So I am going to give you a clue, like I mentioned. If you're writing marketing material, so Facebook ads, or even just a Facebook post, or maybe you're just putting out a newsletter, or maybe you're doing some sort of reach out to draw a new lead in. You always want it to be high action. It doesn't matter if nurturer, knowledge, or blueprint are actually your customer. You always want to lead with high action knowledge. I mean, high action language and values, because action takers buy. They make a decision and they pull the trigger and they buy. And so you need them to be a BA or an AB or a knowledge action, or an action knowledge, or a knowledge nurture, or a nurture action. You want the front two to contain action, right? One of the front two spots, and how they show up in the world. So that means you need to make sure that you're always leading with this language, because that is going to be where you get the fast acting customers. That doesn't mean that if someone is a B and a K in the front, like our beautiful Donna, that they aren't also the best kind of customers to earn in the world, because it may take Donna a little longer to know, like, and trust you. But once she does, she is a lifelong loyal customer. She will refer you to the world, and she will back it with credibility and knowledge. And anyone who knows her knows that if she recommends something, it's gotta be good. So there's no doubt, and there's no willy-nilly recommendations coming from Donna. They are solid, and
True.
people listen to her. Yes, I already know.
I
See,
tell everybody.
I know she is not messing around. So if you can win those kinds of customers, that's fantastic. But for the fastest customers, you always want to lead with a little bit of that action language, because you're going to get them pulling the trigger just easier and quicker. But you still want Donnas in your life, because man, they're gold. So this is going to help increase your sales velocity. And then overall, you need to think about what you're kind of, remember we talked about your business having these value cards and having these personalities, almost like it's its own entity, right? So what the revenue, recruiting, is that your team, is that your customers, how you're showing up for them, your ranking, so like your reviews, and what their customer journey is and experience, and are you retaining them, and are they referring you? Like, so these are some of the personalities of your business that you want to be thinking about to really maximize your results. So think about how you would show up in those different categories, how you can make your customer experience stronger, how you can increase your revenue easily without adding too much or making it too complicated for your business, how you can get your reviews up there, and how you can make sure all your customers are hanging out with you for the life of what your system is set up for. Like, some people are set up to, you make a buy and then you're done. But a lot of them, there's this longer relationship, and then taking a look at what you can do in order to increase all of those. So networking and figuring out why, so talking to your customers and figuring out why they started with you to begin with, and what you can do to recruit more people who are like them, right? And then with our methodology, obviously recruiting is so much easier. I mean, again, like, I don't want this to be a commercial. I just want you to see the value in at least paying attention to those value and keywords, whether or not you use this system or another system or none at all. So taking the time to just pay attention and figure it out. It is great when tools and technology and automation can save you some time, because artificial intelligence is part of this. And having that data and having some tools in place can really help you. One of the nice tools in this system are we can take an email and copy and paste it into our tool, and then be given, it may not be her code, but it's the code they're speaking to you in at the moment, right? So it's how they're communicating to you. So it's of their greatest value at that moment, based on the topic you're in, which is even more valuable than always having just their direct code. So having both of those is really powerful, so that you can make sure that you are providing the words that they really want to hear. And so having that is really powerful. And also I can show you on LinkedIn. Let me stop this. One of the fun things that I like about this program is that, let me take you back into LinkedIn with me really quickly. And Bunky, we're running out of time already. We're getting there. We have a little bit more to do, so we'll be okay.
Yeah, you're good.
So here, I hope Nick has been enjoying a little bit of it. I've loved that Donna's played with us and participated some. This is because I subscribe to this tool. I have a Google plugin that is right here and connected to my LinkedIn. So when I'm on a LinkedIn page, it goes through and scans this artificial intelligence and reads the LinkedIn profile, which I find fascinating. And it, again, is not necessarily going to read my exact code, but it is going to tell the world how I'm showing up. And of course, oh, here it was just loading slowly. Hang on a second. It should load quicker this time. So it puts, first of all, it pulls all my contact information right in to the slide. And of course, it's loading really slow. And then it does tell me how I'm showing, and that's actually my exact code, but it does tell me based on how I've written my about section and how I've written articles and how I've written other things. And this will actually export all the different pieces of the LinkedIn and load it right into the CRM system. So not only is it an artificial tool that supports you for automation, but it also gathers the data so that you can, again, having these quick, automated, efficient tools really allows you to have more work-life balance, is what we're talking about here, right? Is having the ability to scale your business and be successful and be efficient, and reach out to the people you need appropriately and not spammy, but professionally. And speaking their language, which shortens the sales cycle or increases faster the ability for you to meet with them and have that first meeting, because ultimately that's the first sale, is getting that first appointment, that Zoom meeting, that phone call, that in-person meeting, the permission to present to them. I'm going to run through sales really quickly. Let's see. Let's go to slideshow, and then we have spiritual and artificial intelligence as well. So we're going to get through all these from the beginning. And here we are. So kind of this is the real focus. The sales piece is the real focus of why they buy, right? And we've talked about that, as making sure that we are communicating those values, and talking about those 4 factors. So really giving this some thought. Think about how many opportunities come into your business in a month, and how many opportunities really, if you were Superman or Superwoman, can you really do in a month? Because you can genuinely only have so many meetings in a week, you know, and then the only way to expand that is to add team members, right? To multiply yourself. So you have to think about, well, if I look at my calendar right now, I could have 8 meetings a day with prospective clients. Well, no, you can't, because you've got to also go out there and network and meet the people and send the information out to them to try to get that first meeting, to get it scheduled. And then you get to have meetings. So you have to have time on your calendar to do all the work that gets the appointments on your calendar to begin with, unless you've outsourced that, right? And so, and then thinking about, well, when you do have that one-on-one and they decide to work with you, you know, what's the value of the deal? And it possibly could be 3 different numbers. It could be, well, if they're going to do, you know, the smaller package with us, you know, in the group, maybe they're going to buy the online course and they're going to click in mine. That's the smallest project. Or maybe they're just going to do group coaching with me, and that's a mid-sized project. And maybe they're going to do that one-on-one full annual package, and that's the mega dollar, right? So this could have a couple of different options based on, you know, your products, your services, and the price points of those categories. And I highly suggest you have that. You should have something that is inexpensive, mid-range, and that really ultimate red carpet VIP experience. And that's how you should portray it, because guess who's going to buy that? Those action people are going to buy that, because if they feel like they're going to get the velvet robes and the champagne and the after hours party and the, you know, the Gucci gift bag that goes with it for only the VIP, then, and they feel the value is truly there with you, then that's what they're going to want. And that's when you think about how do I make it an ultimate VIP experience? What can I add? And that's when you think about your high level joint venture partners, because maybe you have a joint venture partner who has a special something they can add as a bonus only for your VIP customers, right? And then you can do the same for them. So then you're sharing energy, you're working smarter, not harder, because you've amplified and you've doubled the situation. You're bringing a potential high dollar new customer into their world, and vice versa if you offer the same thing for their red carpet high dollar product, right? And so then again, you have amplified in your space without having to grow a direct sales team, but using your joint venture partners, those referral partners, those high power partners in your space. This is a really great way to do that. Your win rate is only going to improve if you improve. So take sales trainings, listen to the workshops, improve your presentation, practice it, see how you can tighten it up and get it better. Learn the words. You should have at least 4 different presentation styles, because there's at least 4, I mean, there's really a lot more than 4, but 4 different key personality values, right? So that they each should, that same presentation should lean heavy on, and always include the front too. Remember, an action knowledge, an action blueprint, an action nurture, and an action, anyway, I've lost one, but anyway, you understand what I'm saying is you want to lean heavy on that, because you want them to make a buying decision, first of all. And no, you're never going to say, and if you buy today and today only, you can't say that to a knowledge person. You can say that to an action person. You can say that to an action nurture. Sometimes you can even get away with an action blueprint. But you're not going to get away with that with an action knowledge in most cases. If they have to make a decision right now, they're out. They're done. All right. Well, I need to think about it. And I need to talk about people, and I had to research it, and I need to look at this stuff. You're not going to let me do that, so I'm out. You know, so don't set yourself up to fail using some of these sales tactics that are valuable and will work for some personality types, but they will completely shut off other people. And you don't want to do that. And then learn and pay attention. What is the length of your sales cycle, and how can you shorten that? And using some of these skill sets and really increasing your knowledge, again, is the only way this yellow percentage, your win rate, and the length of your sales cycle typically are going to shorten. They only typically shorten based on your skill set, and you can improve that. You can improve your knowledge and your skill set. That is the exciting thing. Well, you might have heard of this person before. The ability to sell is the #1 skill in business. And we talked about how important the sales piece is to the business piece. And, you know, not everyone falls into the, oh, we just got to pull enough jelly beans out of the jar and we're going to finally pull out a red one. You know, that there is some truth to that, but if you get good at what you're doing and you learn to speak to the values of the person in front of you, you certainly don't have to pull quite as many jelly beans, right? And that is the power of having this knowledge overall. Because it really is more of a people game than a numbers game, right? We really are dealing with people. And then this is something else I love is, we just talked about making sure you have that different types of presentation styles for the different types of people out there, right? So let your prospect determine your presentation. So who is in front of you? Who are you speaking to? You need to make sure you're understanding ways to identify that, whether it's of your own just observation based on the knowledge you've gotten today, or it's using technology and tools when you have that opportunity. So you don't want to just get to make a sale with the people that know, like, and trust you because they're like you, right? You want to be able to make a sale with all of the right people, no matter what their personality style is, because then that changes your odds from 1 in 4, to the 3 and 4. You really want to increase your percentages of who you can work with. So, and then this is just more proof that what we're saying here really works. And Harvard University did a study on this whole process and agreed, and so did San Francisco. And so all the people love us. Forbes made a quote, and Entrepreneur Today, and all kinds of wonderful people. But essentially, you have all these different combinations of people, right? 24 codes at minimum, and there's probably way more than that. Truthfully, when you look even deeper, people are pretty complex, right? So we just want to keep increasing our percentages of our success when we really can communicate to these different people. We've got a lot of noise in the world, right? So we've got to find a way to break through it, especially with posting and emailing and phone calls and mailing postcards and whatever it is that we're working on doing. Good old Les Brown has something nice to say about this solution and this technology too. And we've started out with the work smarter, not harder. And, ultimately it isn't rocket science, but it is, personality science and emotional intelligence and all of the different intelligences that kind of pool together to make us the people that we are. So we kind of looked at all of these pieces already before. And yeah, so there's lots of different tools. So I love this part, though. I do want to get to this part to share with you. So how much would you need in order to make this worth for you? So, these are the kinds of questions you would ask. So are you ready to start winning? The winning word really connects to that action person. You want to participate in our mission to change lives all over the world. That is the huggable people, those nurturers. Is there any information or research you need from me before you need to make your decision, right? So that's how you just want to really learn how to talk to these people. I'm curious what caught your attention today. What would you like to know that would be most helpful to you, right? Can I show you tools that will help you provide predictable results, right? Can we show you our technology, our process, our systems that are proven, right? Timing and opportunity, here's our action. Massive need in society, innovative products, social shift, proven trust leadership. See, proven trusted leadership team. This is the speaking in all those codes, proven success systems and business model and structure, right? And so you can see what's heavy in the communication there. I love those. So making sure that you are taking this to heart, not just for your business, as we talked about, but in your personal as well. And I just want to take a few minutes. I know everyone is on their own, and I totally respect everyone's personal. Wait a minute, I think I stopped sharing. Hang on. Their personal journey as far as spirituality goes, whether it's just, good health and exercise and meditation, or your religious beliefs, or just your spiritual beliefs. Let's see, from the beginning, let's go. Whatever that is, it does have an impact, and there is a level of intelligence there. And I would just encourage you to spend some time with that. Like I said, whatever it is, whether it's nature or wherever you are with it. And the slides do not want to show. Let's see. Can you see it?
Yeah.
I think I skipped through some of the first ones, but that's okay. So, really this is helping us stay grounded and think about the bigger picture. Like I said, whether it's nature or universe and how grand the mountains are, really have the ability to be a mentor and a leader and be centered and have peace of mind and handle the different things. Now they say there's 4 categories of ultimate wealth, right? And spiritual knowledge, relationships, and money. And this is somebody's opinion of what the different categories of wealth are. You're welcome to make your own. I love sharing a piece of this for at least to give it consideration, right? I think money is a great resource that can help the other categories of life, and that should be used as a tool, but everybody has their own perspectives of this. And I think relationships are one of the most valuable things and reasons we're here. And for me, it's relationship with myself and my creator. And then after that, it is with my family and community. And it goes out from there, because I feel like when I have that relationship with myself, then I'm able to give better to the people around me and beyond me. So, and these slides just do not want to move well with all of the Zoom and the sharing. And I think when I click it too many times, it's even past some, but I don't know which way we're going. So pulling all those together obviously does help with your overall success. And I just think that it's a good, like I said, it's a good thing to think about, right? Is to have all of these people, all these pieces, right? So intellectual intelligence, emotional intelligence, spiritual intelligence, and we even talked about the business and the sales, and pulling them all together so that you just really do have an opportunity to the, one life we get to live on this world. At least for now, depending on what your beliefs are, is as high quality and wonderful as it can be, impacting both you in a wonderful way and all the people who are touched by the ripples that you affect, right? And recognizing what your purpose is and how you can reach out to others and be a support to others. And, having mentors and having people you can reach out to is just as important as being a mentor, and I think that's not something that it's either or. I think it's something you have both all the time. You always have those people who are just a bit of farther above you that people are reaching for to follow, some of the great spiritual minds and individuals of generations, Gandhi and Mother Teresa and all these people who just really were amazing mentors and led the way. So having those people who are just a bit above us, and then having those people, because there's people who really wish they were where we were and could really use our support. And I think that's true in just about any state, so unless you're absolutely at rock bottom, I think there's still always someone you can help. And even then, right, I think that's why a lot of these places, when you have any kind of addiction or problem, come together to support one another, because they do have value to bring. No matter where they are in their journey of recovery or improving themselves, they have value to bring that group. And so if we can tap into ourselves and each other, and having a mentor up and being a mentor to others who are coming along the way, as well as building that relationship with ourselves. I mean, we are stuck with ourselves 24/7. And I think with what's happened in the world lately, I think we know that even more, right? And having that internal strength and turning off that critic inside of our mind who's criticizing our big dreams, our big goals, and trying to keep us down. Mostly, I think that little critic inside is trying to keep us from growing and blooming out because of fear, right? And because it doesn't know that that's safe or not. And we're trying to keep ourselves safe. So we might not want to go into those scary woods because we don't know what's in there, and sometimes that's a really good advice. At other times it keeps us from soaring as high as we possibly can. So creating those small pockets of mastermind. I'm in several masterminds and I love them, so that we can to do that. And then the whole concept of left brain, right brain, where we're not going to get into the deep sciences of it all, even though I have some, like I said, I'm certified in this training, and could really bore your socks off if, if you wanted the information. But I think we're going to keep it light and airy today, as I've been talking for a very long time. And Bunky knows normally I am live interactive in all of the websites and moving around, doing all these things. I don't normally do death by PowerPoint, but a lot of this information is just much more easier to organize here. But, connecting things, and they say some of the greatest, there was a book by Jim Stangl called Grow. He was the past global marketing executive of Procter & Gamble. And they did a study on the top 50 companies in the world. And what they found was often, almost in every single one of them, the people in the company were having so much success because the marketing it's interesting, there's internal marketing, right? So marketing to the staff and the team was building up their minds, connecting it to, we're not here just to build a big company and make a lot of money for ourselves. We are here, this is our mission, our vision, and here's how we are going to change the world. And here's the steps we're taking to do it. And here's how you're a part of that. And when they did that kind of internal marketing, these people worked longer hours, harder, without wanting, extra, they didn't want all the extras from the company for it. They were doing it because they were on a bigger mission. It was a bigger cause, greater than themselves. And that made them feel good about coming into work every day. And so that having that balance and in that spiritual piece too, or that bigger value or bigger mission, is important in your life overall, knowing that you're doing something that's making a difference for your family, for yourself, for your community, but having that in your business mindset too, especially as you grow a team and you begin to expand and have greater success, is just really huge. And then lastly, we have our artificial intelligence. And so I will share my screen. And this one's wicked short, so we can look at some wrap-up thoughts, and away we will go. Let's see what we can get through here. So artificial intelligence, ultimately, whether it's this program or others, just find the tools, things like MailChimp and auto email and funnel systems and reminders and CRMs and Trello board, and just find different tools that are going to help you achieve what you need to achieve. Artificial intelligence is not something to be overlooked. I know I could just kind of zoom through those slides, because I really am not looking for this to be an infomercial for this particular system. I want you to think about artificial intelligence overall, right? And all the different technologies out there, and then take a look at the things you do on a regular basis. And if you're doing an action that when this happens, when a customer sends me something, then that needs to happen next. Even if there isn't a software tool that solves that, there might be a Zap. So Zapier is a really good tool that can connect those two pieces for you. And maybe that's not your skill set, but there's some really great platforms out there, and ask me about them. You can feel free to reach out if you're watching this as a recording, or Donna and Bunky, I'm always happy to help you. That you can find the people globally, anywhere from $1 an hour to $1,000 an hour, of every skill set under the sun that can help you build those pieces out. But start by identifying them. You have to track what you're doing. Remember, we talked about big data and tracking, and all this comes back to tracking. Whether we're talking about work-life balance, you need to make sure, if you're tracking your calendar, to make sure you're spending and scheduling that time for yourself, and time for your family, and time for your business. And all of this comes to paying attention and tracking. And so when you have your personal routines, are you journaling? Are you jogging? Are you eating right? Are you sleeping right? You need to track that. And then if you're thinking about growing your business more efficiently and quickly and scaling it, you have to know what tasks you're doing. So what is the process of onboarding a new customer? So from they found your Facebook post for the free webinar or networking event, they attended the networking event. What happened next? What happened next? What happened next? Till you had your meeting and your presentation with them. You followed up with the contract. They signed the contract. They paid the invoice. You did a 2-hour onboarding call. In that onboarding call, you had a discovery form. Where does the information from the discovery form go next? Should that automatically go there? Is someone manually typing it? Track the system all the way through. And that's where this artificial intelligence piece comes in, to really take some of those pieces off of your plate and give you flow, right? So I actually even have some more wonderful things in this article that I'm just going to end up, and that's how we'll wrap up. How does that sound? So I created an article here on LinkedIn to cover this presentation, and that's another really great, it's not real artificial intelligence. It's just working smarter and not harder. So whenever I do a talk, I create an article to go with it. So I do a talk for the international, global, whatever you want to call it, tourism organization later today. I've already made my article for it to go through. And what this provides is, one, I have to do social media anyway, right? So I need to make articles and blogs. It's on my list. And when I do talks, and I do lots of talks anyway, I might as well, you see where you start to pull this together. And then guess what else value it brings? It brings the value of, here's all these great notes for the people who took the class. So they can gather it that way. They can like, share, and comment if they want to, so that gives you engagement and grows your, social media following, and it might bring in new leads. And so one of the great things you might want to do, if you do have the ability to teach a class or speak in your industry and your skill set, is consider this technique as well. And it gives, it's much easier than handing out PowerPoint slides. And then you can give this information and resource out to the people who attended your event as a gift as well. And it also gives people who are looking to book you, they're like, oh, what kind of talks can you do? And then you can send the links to all these different articles and say, well, here's a couple of my talk topics. And I use these articles as notes in correspondence with teaching the class, right? And so that's another really great kind of hack or tip, if you would, that will make things more enjoyable for your life. So I am Jessica Koch. I hope you guys thoroughly enjoyed this. I am so sorry that we did not have a full house and a full room, but I sure hope that many, many lives and businesses get touched by this information via the recording and the webinar resource on the website. Right, Bunky?
Absolutely. I'm actually, the code, the more you talk, the more I kept changing my letters around. So I'm not sure what I am.
We'll go back to the actual link and the
Yeah.
test, and take a few minutes and when no one's talking, and really give it some thought. And like I said, different points in our life and different, moments of stress, we can be something else versus other. But just think about overall, if you really were forced to put them in order, what would the order be? And then that gives you a clue. And I just love the report that comes from that. And then the company itself will send you some other little love and emails over time. If you don't want them, there's a little box to check, and you can feel free to opt out of that. They just started that years ago when I started this. It was truly just a gift I could give. They would get the report and nothing else. But, automation and artificial intelligence, clicks you into a little bit more. They send some really interesting reports and resources, and nothing horrid, but if you would like to not get them, please do choose to opt out, and then you'll only receive the report that's just for you. So
yeah, I mean, we have aspects of each of these in everything we do.
Everything.
Like I may be a big bee person, but I'm a big hugger too. Like, so, I think, and you're absolutely right, how we change from different points in our life, because like, to bring in the Myers-Briggs, I used to be an INFP in my 20s. I took it again in my 30s, and I was an ESTJ. So totally jumped to the opposite. but I think that's because it also depends on where you are on sort of the bell curve of things.
Mhm.
Some of these, Bunky, I felt it was difficult for me to put two of them in order because
Mm.
I felt like I was so closely aligned with each one, but I just said, okay,
Yeah.
I have to put it in order. I'll do it.
Yeah,
But,
I
like,
think my nurture and action are almost the exact point number. There's um, uh, a better test that really nails it down to actual number of points that you can take.
Mhm.
And when I did that more intensive experience with this product, my numbers for nurture and action are almost exact, and same with my blueprint and knowledge. They're almost exact, but there, there's like a variance of 1 point, in each to make them. And matter of fact, I actually had my blueprint and knowledge switched, and it makes so much more sense. When I did the point by point system, it was, like I said, just 1 or 2 numbers over, but it really is more true. And so, like I said, it's been also a really wonderful self-discovery experience, because I feel like I was, I'm 48 and fabulous. I was pretty chill. I'm pretty, all right, some days I melt down and eat that ice cream out of the fridge when I'm not supposed to, or watch too much Netflix. But for the most part, I'm respectful. I respond well in high stress situations. Because I feel like my level of emotional intelligence overall is pretty good, but I really feel like it jumped 100% of improvement when I went through this certification process and experience. There's actually a 12-week course with workbooks and everything that go with this program, where someone can join a coaching program and go through with a whole group of people in a group setting. And we go through the workbook and we mastermind out the pieces. And, so it's a much more extensive, this was sort of the high level overview of this experience, because then there's action steps and a workbook that go with each one of these categories for us to actually do the work to improve our levels in each one of these categories.
Wow.
So.
Well, it was enjoyable. I think I've learned a little bit about myself.
Well, that's good. I'm sad we lost the other people, but I'm guessing they had other appointments.
Yeah.
And things.
Actually, Nick,
I just wish
I
wish we'd had, like you said, I wish we'd had more in the beginning. Yeah.
But,
well, I
Nick,
think the next, I'm sorry, Donna, I think the next system is, I told you I was a professional interruptum, is building out a plan to market the past videos that have been done, like to say, hey, on demand, maybe you weren't able to make this training or that training, but on demand, this training, and here's that. And putting it in the newsletter or getting it out there on social media to say, this is a free resource for you, typically valued at, for me, I'm $250 an hour. So you can say over $500 value, for consulting and training with XYZ expert. And I think you can do that for any and all of your past trainings. I mean, not just me, but, other people too.
Sure.
That you do this with, because you said you aren't getting a high level of attendance. So maybe what the key is getting that more on demand and give them the opportunity to watch these trainings. And, tell them up front, you can add an end card or a beginning card to each one of your videos to say, hey, how we get the access to these grants and resources so we can provide this is because you're going to provide feedback and fill out this survey. That's our ask of you. And and then it's our joy to bring all of these resources to you, so really kind of pull at their heartstrings to be a part of keeping the funding coming your way. And so even in the experience of just watching the replay, they could still provide that feedback, which you so desperately need. So
Right.
I agree with that, because, small business owners are cagey, and, they're always so busy and are being pulled in so many different directions that if they were better able to participate in some other way, like being able to do it on demand, I think, we would get some more viewership. And by the way, Nick is sorry he had to jump off, his internet died. So he texted me and it was like, I was really enjoying that. I'm so sorry.
Oh, good. I'm glad he was.
Yeah, he was really enjoying it.
That's good. That's good. Well, thank you guys very much. And
thank you, Jessica.
Thank you very much. It was very good.
Gee, I can put the link to the article on the chat, and also feel free to check out any of the articles on my LinkedIn page. I have, I think I'm approaching 200 articles there on all different topics. So feel free to share them and use them however you'd like.
Okay,
That'd be
well,
great.
thanks, and guess I'll see you on the next. I think you've got another one coming up, don't you?
Now we're going to do virtual assistants and how to outsource and scale your business with outsourcing. Mhm.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Do an email, Bunky, to like an email blast where we say, you know, missed today, here's like an article from her, and you know, don't miss out the next time, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, like the next training, sort of kind of get both going at once, so that if you know they're really interested, they'll click through and everything, and then try to get more people in the second training.
And it's interesting because I'm surprised the other Maryland women's centers don't support your effort to market, because I accidentally went to the wrong website because I just Googled Maryland Women's Center
Yeah.
and looked for events to find mine. And because I didn't put in Eastern Shore, there was nothing about it on their calendar.
Yeah,
Other
siloed.
one. Yeah, and I think that would really increase. I mean, why not double all of your efforts, you know, and work smarter, not harder. And
Right. And the
Yeah.
truth is, our Women's Business Center there's one at Eastern Shore, but there's one here in Baltimore as well.
mhm.
So yeah.
We have been, you know, that's, I don't, we're not completely there yet, but we have started working more, you know, more with them. So
Cross-pollinate each other's
Yep.
calendars and email blasts, and the more you guys can support one another and have those events out there. And I wouldn't have even known it if I just landed on the wrong website. But because you guys are all family and connected, I would think, you know, and the Small Business Association and all these places could be
Right.
sharing out, including, you know, even if you make a vault of the videos, they can include a link to hey, check out these vault of resources, scan through the topics and take what's relevant for your business today, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Definitely.
All right. Thank you guys. I'm going to have some lunch and go teach another class.
All right. Thanks again, Jessica.
One